groups.com, and I'm excited to be back with Mike from Robart. Mike, what is happening?
Hey, Jim, glad to be back. Looks like we're going to continue on. We got a few of the ZAP glues to talk about. We're really getting into diving deep into some of the specialty products now.
So if you have an arsenal of glues, which I do, mine's in a bucket. It's a bucket of every kind of glue I need, from CA to kickers to what we're going to talk about today, which is ZAP Goo. This kind of glue, Mike's the expert, of course, would come in handy if you had to glue your tennis shoes back together, or all kinds of things. And so we're going to talk about all the things ZAP Goo can glue back together and things it can't or shouldn't be used on. So I'll hand it over to Mike.
Yeah, Jim. So today we're going to be talking about ZAP Goo. We get a good close up on this here. All right. So we'll just hit the finer points here, right? All-purpose adhesive and sealant, bonds virtually everything and remains flexible. All right. Let me flip the camera around so we can get this overhead shot. Here we go. All right. So ZAP Goo. Are we zoomed in enough here, Jim?
It depends on what we're going to do. You might could zoom in a little more if you wanted to.
Yeah, I should be just fine with this. So what you're going to get in your card is the bottle of glue, or ZAP Goo, and it's already going to have a tip on it. It's a metal tube. Just use the back of the cap and to open it up. And then it does come with a spare tip.
Because it wants to gurgle out.
Yeah, it wants to gurgle out a little bit in the beginning. But then, so you'll have your spare tip and your cap, and you can continue to use it. And you can cut the tip down, or so you can open them up, and you can have a fine tip or an open tip, or if this gets clogged up, you got to replace it. All right. So it's clear. It's extremely clear. You can see with the tip on there, you do get a nice, really nice line. You get a lot of control with it. It is highly viscous, so it does not run. So if you're working on a vertical and whatnot, it can do that. It is not a CA, so it is a rubber glue. A competitor with this would be a shoe glue. Okay, this is actually a wonderful glue. My predecessor over here, a lot of you know Dennis Crooks in the modeling side, and he uses this for a lot when he's building his planes. So the technique to putting the glue together, using this glue, is put glue on one side, take the other side, put them together, mate them together, and then pull them apart. Put them together and pull them apart.
That kind of glue, yes.
Okay, until you get nice and stringy and string. All right, see, we're getting nice and stringy here. And then put it together and leave it. And what that's now, you've got that air in there, you got the mixture and everything, and that's going to lock that in tight. You got a lot of working time, so you can move it around and whatnot. Okay.
Is the air activating the glue in some way?
You know, I'll be honest. I would have to do a little bit, talk to our chemists on this one, and what's actually causing the cure on this. Okay, but it is. Let's see here. Aliphatic petroleum distillate is contained in here. Okay. Gotcha. So whatever that means.
Yeah. I've had glues like this, and the goal is to get it stringy, so it's almost getting a little cotton candy-ish in there when you pull it apart, and then it's ready to go together.
Yep. So it is extremely vibration resistance, because this is it's almost like a rubber when it's done. Remember how flexible the PT56 was, the canopy glue? Yeah. This is even more flexible than that. So all of your vibration and everything, this will handle that, or anything that really needs to flex. All right.
So I'll tell you what I've used this on a lot, and I keep it around for Velcro. Let's say you get a Horizon airplane and they give you a Velcro strip to hold your battery down.
Yes.
We all know the first time you pull your battery out, you're going to pull the Velcro right off the wood because Velcro and wood don't mix. So even before I stick it down, I peel off the back and put a bead of this on and then lay it down on the wood and be sure and let it dry before you start putting batteries in there. And it's a great way to keep your Velcro in your plane.
And because it is so viscous, it is not going to wick all the way up into that fabric. So, and it's going to be able to hold up to all the shaking and everything that's on there. So that exactly, Jim, that's a great point to that. I didn't even think of it. What we do got to note is it's not foam safe, unfortunately. It will eat the foam. It's, especially if you put too much on. Okay. So be careful with this around foam, but metal, plastic, wood, fabric, all of that, it's going to grab it very well. And if you're walking around and you mess up your shoes, just like you said in the beginning, it'll definitely fix the soles on your shoes because it able to flex so much, it'll glue that down really well.
I've always felt that's what this kind of glue was made for, rubber on rubber.
Yep.
But you could go rubber to wood or wood to metal. Because it has such a big surface area, you can spread it out on the whole surface and get a good bite all over the surface.
Correct. Now, let me see if I have one of my spreading cards here. I'll just use one of these here. That's something we also want to consider is if I'm gluing this piece of balsa, right? A lot of times, if I want to put a big chunk down, I just take the tip off and I'll just put a big gob of this out. Okay. Now, I could take another piece of wood. We've got spreading cards, an old hotel key card, one of the 5 credit cards you got hacked this year, right? And you can spread this out and get a lot of control over this glue. Could spread it. Okay, good. I got a good coverage. All right. And now we can place our parts on, and you can take it apart and put it back together and get it nice and stringy. Also, you can just place your piece of wood down here and it will cure just like it is.
It just takes longer.
Right. Also, here's the other nice thing. If you're doing metal to metal, plastic to plastic, even some of your harder woods, this glue you can cut out. So I could take a razor in there and I could cut away this glue and I can open it up and then you could scrape it off of the real non-porous materials like your woods and your your metals and your plastics, and you can clean it up and re-glue it.
Gotcha.
So
I think of this as an all-around glue, just something you need to have in the bag.
Correct.
When you don't know exactly what you'll be needing or have happening to you, not only at the airfield, but basically in life for like in the kitchen and the wife and the kids and all those needs that pop up.
Oh, that's true. And the cap is extremely convenient. So you're not getting this all around, getting it stuck and, getting it, what am I trying to say here? Having it come out of the tip and getting all over your tools and things like that. So, yep. So this is the ZAP. The part number here is PT-12. So if you need to search for it on anything, it's our PT-12. It is ZAP goo. Yeah.
And once this video goes live, I will then go back in and put links directly to ZAP goo, and then also links to all the distributors who distribute ZAP all around this great USA. You can find ZAP anywhere you want.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Jim. I'm glad to be back on. And what we'll do is we'll be getting into some deep dives into a couple of other ones. I think the next one we're going to do is real similar to this. So stay tuned to what we got coming up next.
All right. ZAP goo with Mike from Robart and ZAP Total Adhesive Systems. I'm Jim T. Graham with RC Groups. Thanks, everyone out there. Bye.
Bye now.